Tonight, armed and dangerous.
Just called advising that they have had multiple gunshot victims on I-75 southbound around the 48.
The manhunt happening right now for a gunman who opened fire on drivers along a Kentucky interstate. At least 5 people shot. Police searching for this man.
Our main focus right now is get this guy under arrest.
Also tonight, wildfire fight. Crews battle exploding flames east of Los Angeles.
I'm Elise Preston in the San Bernardino Mountains, where firefighters are working during a heat wave to battle flames that have forced evacuations.
And the new storm threat churning in the southeast. Debate countdown. It's Harris versus Trump facing off this week.
I'm Weijia Jiang in Pennsylvania with new polling tonight from battleground states, with the presidential campaign in its final stretch.
Amid the war in Gaza, a minor miracle.
I'm Elizabeth Palmer in Tel Aviv. Airstrikes across Gaza this weekend haven't slowed down a mass polio vaccination campaign.
Superstar handcuffed. Why the Dolphins' Tyreek Hill started this NFL Sunday face down on a road near the stadium. And later, it's the oldest record store in Los Angeles. Thousands of used LPs stacked inside. CBS's Carter Evans asked the collector, why sell now?
I'm going to Morocco, live with my beautiful wife.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening and thank you for joining us this Sunday. Tonight, authorities in Kentucky are urgently searching for a man wanted in a shooting on Interstate 75 that left 5 people seriously wounded and 9 vehicles riddled with gunfire. The suspect, identified as 32-year-old Joseph Couch, is considered armed and dangerous. Police discovered Couch's vehicle and an AR-15 rifle. Federal agents joined the search this morning. CBS's Christian Benavides is in London, Kentucky with more.
Jerika, tonight calls are pouring in about potential sightings as local, state and federal agencies are searching rugged terrain surrounding Interstate 75 for any sign of the suspect.
We got several people shot.
The first calls about an active shooter came late Saturday.
The victims have been shot through the windshield.
First responders raced to Interstate 75 in Laurel County, about 9 miles north of the city of London.
I can't stress how chaotic this was when our units arrived on the scene. People, cars on the side of the road, emergency flashers, windows shot out.
5 people were shot, including one person who was struck in the face. 2 more were injured in subsequent car wrecks, but they're all expected to be okay.
Do we have any idea where this shooter's at?
At the scene, investigators recovered an AR-15 style rifle, several loaded magazines, and a small SUV registered to 32-year-old Joseph Couch. Police temporarily stopped traffic in both directions after terrified drivers told them it wasn't clear where bullets were coming from.
You always think, oh, it's not going to happen to us, but it's literally in the heart of our own cities, so it's very heartbreaking.
Officials say there was only one shooter. They do not believe this to be a case of a road rage, and the motive as of now remains unclear. Jerika?
Christian Benavides, thank you. Tonight, the fire crews in California are battling 14 wildfires across the state, fueled by a dangerous heat wave and high winds. The worst of them is raging in San Bernardino County. The line fire has more than quadrupled in size this weekend, prompting the evacuation of more than 11,000 people. CBS's Elise Preston is there for us tonight.
Jerika, the fast-moving winds are providing fuel to flames as they jump around the area. Thousands have already been forced to evacuate.
Crews struggle to slow the spread of the explosive line fire east of Los Angeles. It doubled in size overnight to more than 17,000 acres. The speed and intensity of the inferno forcing the entire mountain communities of Running Springs and Arrow Bear Lake to flee to safety.
Keep my critters safe, and that's the important thing.
Firefighters are battling the flames in triple-digit conditions. Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency Saturday night to get more resources and money to help the fire fight.
This is a town right behind us.
It is, yes. So a lot of community, right? A lot of ranch home or cabin homes. So we're literally going to come out. We're going to do preparation on the homes.
More than 35,000 structures are in the wildfire's path. Paired with the sweltering heat, the fire has created its own weather system with clouds, thunder, and lightning.
And Jerika, many nearby schools are closed tomorrow because the smoke is creating unhealthy air.
Elise Preston, thank you so much. So is there any relief in sight? Let's check in with CBS News meteorologist Andrew Kozak for that answer. Andrew?
Yeah, good evening, Jerika. We are continuing to watch, of course, those wildfires being the top headline in weather. As we head into your Monday, temperatures will feel over 100 degrees. The wind's kicking up. The terrain doesn't help. And as Elise reports, the smoke and the ash actually produces its own weather. We call it pyrocumulus clouds. They produce strong, erratic winds, really helps to push those fires, spread those fires. And in a rare occasion, which we are seeing now, pyrocumulonimbus clouds form from all this. And that means that these are producing their own storms, the cloud-to-ground lightning, not helping at all. And it's not just California. Looking ahead into your Monday, the Rockies, the Pacific Northwest, winds and dry conditions are giving us elevated fire concerns. For the Gulf of Mexico, we now have the latest update on this cluster of storms organizing into Tropical Cyclone 6. This will become Francine as it moves up, hitting anywhere between the Texas coast and Louisiana. This could produce some really heavy rainfall by the time we get into the early part of the week, anywhere between Monday and Wednesday across the Gulf, 5 to 7, even up to 10 inches of rain, something we're watching very carefully for the week ahead. Jerika?
Thanks, Andrew. It's a pivotal week in the race for the White House. Tuesday, the candidates will meet for their first debate as the campaign enters its final stretch. Tonight, our new Battleground Tracker poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris up 1 point in Michigan and 2 points in Wisconsin. In Pennsylvania, she's dead even with former President Donald Trump. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang is in Pittsburgh with more on what to expect. Weijia, good evening.
Good evening to you, Jerika. Both candidates are focused on policy proposals ahead of Tuesday's debate, according to sources who are familiar with how they are preparing. The performances could make a big difference with such tight races in those states that matter the most. Taking a break from debate preps, Vice President Harris got some fresh air.
Are you ready, Madam Vice President?
Ready. In battleground Pennsylvania, Democrats feel excited about her campaign. That's what 82% of voters tell CBS News in our new poll, compared to 75% of Republicans for former President Trump.
I'm excited. I'm ready to go out and vote. I'm ready to bring all my friends with me, all my cohorts, my counterparts.
Our poll also shows Harris is competitive here, Michigan, and Wisconsin, in part because voters think she'll help the middle class, and she has an edge on making housing more affordable, along with support from union workers. But Trump is doing better with those who say the economy and inflation are major issues, especially among non-college and white voters, including Wisconsin voter Jerry Kopecki.
We need to turn this country back to what we had under his presidency. We've never had it so good in my lifetime.
In a new Truth Social post, Trump falsely claimed there was rampant cheating in the 2020 election and could be more in 2024. When I win, he wrote, those people that cheated will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences.
It's unhinged. It's anti-American. And guess what? We are not afraid.
Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff said Harris is ready to take on Trump.
But she's also a warrior, joyful and warrior. And let's see, at the debate, Donald Trump is going to see the warrior part.
After the debate, both candidates plan to hit the campaign trail, flooding battleground states. In fact, Harris has already announced she plans to be back here in Pennsylvania on Friday. Jerika?
Weijia Jiang in Pittsburgh, thank you. We will have complete coverage of the presidential debate on Tuesday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on CBS, followed by live simulcast of the debate and CBS's expert analysis. Venezuelan opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez has fled the country for asylum in Spain. It's a major setback for those who saw Gonzalez as the legitimate winner of July's presidential election. Today in the Middle East, a gunman killed 3 Israelis at a border crossing between Jordan and the Israeli-occupied West Bank. The attack comes amid a surge of violence in the territory and no end to the war in Gaza. CBS's Elizabeth Palmer is in Tel Aviv and has the latest.
In the unrelenting stream of tragic news from the region this week, there was also a public health triumph. Here's all it takes to shield Gaza's children from a virus that could cripple them. As soon as I heard there was polio, I was scared, says Mohammed Salam. We don't have healthy food, so I hope the vaccination will help protect them. The World Health Organization has pulled off a minor miracle, getting more than 1 million doses into Gaza, keeping them cold in a sweltering war zone, and then convincing parents Israel, by agreement with the UN, would stop bombing around the vaccination centers, even though children were still losing their lives in airstrikes not far away. Just this weekend, Israel hit at least 25 targets across the Gaza Strip. Still, the turnout for polio immunization has been huge. Desperate parents doing what they could in shocking conditions.
The hygiene and the sanitation conditions are very, very dire. There is no running water.
Jonathan Crick's team at UNICEF distributed the vaccines.
A lot of families brought their children because they told us our children are sick all the time. So for us, it is critical that we do everything to protect them.
With overcrowding, scant water for washing, and at least one confirmed polio infection, the vaccinations are averting disaster. So you may have stopped polio in its tracks, but there are other diseases that affect the children in Gaza now. What are the most dangerous?
When I was in the Gaza Strip, we had 90% of the mothers who were saying that their children were suffering from acute chronic diarrhea. When you have a 6-month-old baby who is suffering from acute diarrhea, who doesn't have enough food, who doesn't have enough water, who doesn't have enough medicine, baby can die from it.
So far, about 2/3 of Gaza's children have been immunized against polio, Jerika. That's more than 400,000 of them, with 3 days to go in the campaign.
Elizabeth Palmer, thank you so much for your reporting. Back here in the United States, tonight police in Miami, Florida say they're investigating a traffic stop involving Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Video shows Hill being detained by officers before today's game, just 1 block from the stadium. He was handcuffed while laying face down on the pavement. Police say it was because of a traffic violation. Hill later caught an 80-yard touchdown pass, and in an act of defiance, he put his hands behind his back as if he was getting handcuffed. The Dolphins beat the Jaguars 20-17. Well, today in New York City, a first for Italy at the U.S. Open. Italian Yannick Sinner is the men's champion, beating American Taylor Fritz in 3 straight sets. It's his 2nd Grand Slam championship. Fritz was trying to become the first American man to win a Grand Slam title since Andy Roddick in 2003. Straight ahead on the CBS Weekend News, a new approach to school resource officers. Plus, he's not like us. The star who dominated summer is Super Bowl bound. And we'll meet the man who has spent a lifetime collecting records. Tonight, a celebration of life will be held in Winder, Georgia for Appalachia High School teacher and football coach Ricky Aspinwall. Coach A, as he was affectionately known, was one of 4 people, 2 teachers and 2 students, killed last week in the nation's latest school shooting. Despite the senseless violence, Georgia is one of the few states nationwide taking an alternative approach to keeping schools safe. Here's CBS's Stephen Stock.
Yeah. You did good? Good choices? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. 5.
Just another friendly face in the hallway of a Georgia school. It's an approach the state adopted 6 years ago that puts SROs and district safety coordinators working hand in hand with school administrators.
We believe it takes a specific kind of person to be an SRO, just like it would a specific kind of person to be an operator on a SWAT team.
Chief Murray Kogod helped his district and schools across Georgia implement the triad model. Its goal is to establish a strong relationship between SROs and students so that officers become mentors whom the kids turn to for help. Kogod says that trust and communication also creates a safer learning environment.
They're becoming a resource, not just a response. So that's kind of what we emphasize in the triad model. And we believe it to be the most effective and the most beneficial for the students in the end. And we are a part of that team in seeing these kids succeed.
Officers are trained to become triad certified, including instruction on threat assessments, de-escalation techniques, and thinking like educators, not cops.
Those people are the people that are ready to transition to a different mindset, ready to become the protector rather than the enforcer.
Since Georgia started training schools on this triad model, federal data shows student arrests are down. Kogod also says more confidential tips about threats are coming in. While not mandated by law, most school districts in Georgia now follow the triad model, including at Appalachia High, where SROs were involved in taking the shooter into custody. I'm Stephen Stock, CBS News.
Still ahead on the CBS Weekend News, a spellbinding sequel lets loose at the box office.
That's what we're here to find.
The juice is loose. I'm going to make you so happy.
After 36 years of waiting, a monster weekend for this long-awaited Tim Burton sequel. Beetlejuice, starring Michael Keaton, brought in $110 million in ticket sales in its box office debut. Deadpool and Wolverine and Reagan also made up the top 3 movies at theater. Well, it has been a summer of sport in Paris, that is. Today, the Paralympic Games came to an end with a spectacular closing ceremony. 4,400 athletes competed over 11 days. Los Angeles will host the next games. Overall, China won the most medals, with Team USA taking third with 105. Next on the CBS Weekend News, he built a vinyl empire. Now he's looking for a new groove. Finally tonight, Americans bought nearly 50 million vinyl records last year. It's a revival of sorts and maybe a perfect time to part with the treasured collection. Here's Carter Evans.
Americans are in love with LPs again.
This one would be the best one. That one.
Music to the ears of Sandy Chase, who's been preparing for the vinyl revival for decades.
You can get an idea of what we've been doing with our lives the last 50, 60 years.
Right. This is kind of an archive of your life. He started collecting records at the age of 12. 10 years later, he had 10,000 and went into business.
Actually, I didn't intend to open the store to make money.
You wanted people to come in and sell you records.
I bought more than I sold.
Considered the go-to guy for jazz and classical, famous singers flocked to his store on LA's trendy Melrose Avenue.
Frank Sinatra was a customer. He ordered records. Michael Jackson said, "This is my favorite record store." Herb Alpert, everybody at some point did business with us.
What about the rappers?
Biggie Smalls, Warren G, PM Dawn, Pete Rock. They bought jazz, they bought spoken word.
Every room in the building is now floor-to-ceiling records, at least 500,000. Let them know what you're looking for. The Steve Miller Band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve Miller.
Yeah.
Henry?
And chances are archivist Henry Gastelum can find it.
Okay, Steve Miller.
I thought for a moment I got one that you didn't have, but nope, you got a few. Abracadabra. With no labels on the shelves, it'll be a steep learning curve for the next owner. Chase is ready to retire and is asking $5 million for the storefront. Does Henry come with the store?
Yeah, you can have Henry. I'll throw Henry in there. Yeah, sure.
What happens when someone actually does buy it? What are you going to do?
I'm going to Morocco and live with my beautiful wife.
That's it, you're done, huh?
Yeah, I'm done.
No dramatic mic drop, just a change of tune. Carter Evans, CBS News, Hollywood.
And that is the CBS Weekend News for this Sunday. I'm Jerika Duncan in New York. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.